If you had told me that a one-off prequel film to Star Wars A New Hope would spawn a flawless trilogy, I never would have believed it. But that's exactly what's happened. 1 year after Force Awakens hit theaters and in some ways threw Star Wars back into the mainstream, a little known movie named Rogue One hit theaters and brought in over $1 billion worldwide. It was a sensational hit, an unexpected hit, and it had to do with the rebels who stole the plans for the Death Star, leading right in to A New Hope. And honestly, I wasn't ready for how good this Star Wars movie was going to be. It introduced new characters to us, ones that we would come to love.
Congratulations, you are being rescued.
I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me.
I think Rogue One was a perfect on-ramp to Star Wars A New Hope. And we got a little bit of Darth Vader as well. However, even with Rogue One's massive success, the announcement that came November 8th, 2018 kinda shocked everyone. That there was going to be a spin-off TV show from Rogue One focusing on one of the characters in the film, Cassian Andor, a rebel pilot who played a big role in the film, ensuring that the Death Star plans made it to the Rebel Alliance. But even with that important role, it did seem strange that this character was going to get his own show.
It's Captain Cassian Andor, Rebel Intelligence.
When was the last time you were in contact with your father?
But little did we know that in 5 years, we were going to see the best TV show ever made on the Disney Plus platform. But even with the quality of writing and the cinematography and everything else going for it, Andor did not boast very good streaming numbers. It posted even lower numbers than Obi-Wan Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett. Though that shouldn't have come as much of a surprise, as we're 4 years already into this Disney Plus streaming service, and it's 4 years removed from the divisive sequel trilogy. The fan base had long lost its trust in Disney Star Wars, and many fans had been calling for Kathleen Kennedy to step down and allow a different direction to happen at Lucasfilm. With all of that going on, plus Disney's inability to find another streaming show success like The Mandalorian, fans checked out and the numbers suffered. But Andor was different. It was a well thought out, meticulously detailed look at the gritty side of building a rebellion. Yes, centered around a random rebel pilot, but soon to find a cast of amazing characters. Season 1 took us on a roller coaster ride of emotions, showing what it takes for people to wake up and fight oppression. From Ferrix to Aldhani, Narkina to Marva's funeral, we got to see firsthand what rebellion costs. And so a new passionate and loyal fan base had been born. This once obscure rebel pilot was now the center character in a compelling show. Pain, heartache, suffering. We see all of these emotions play out in many ways all around Cassian Andor, the many things he has to go through to take him from a little boy on Canary to be one ready to give his life to serve the better good of the galaxy. Add to that the ever-impending empire, which begins to loom large as they crack down on all of this rebel activity, trying to stomp out every pocket of resistance. Then we came to Narkina 5.
My name is Kino Loy. I'm the 5-2D unit manager. The 49 men in this room answer to me.
This moment still sends chills down my spine, because from here all the way to the end of the show, we're getting an absolute masterclass in storytelling, bringing us from this prison break all the way to Marva's funeral. It's going to be the spark in Cassian's heart that sends him all in on this rebellion. It's going to be what makes him stand before Luthen, look him in the eyes, and say, either kill me or take me in. But even with such a well-crafted show, a well-made and written show, and a passionate fan base, there was concern that we weren't going to be able to see all that had been announced around Andor. Originally planned to have 5 seasons, now we weren't even sure what the future would hold for a second season, as so much of what's been happening on the platform starts to be scaled back because Disney is not seeing the return on their investment that they expected. So the decision was made not to go ahead with 4 more seasons, but to bring one massive conclusion to the story of Andor, getting us from Ferrix to Scarif, from whispers of rebellion to full-fledged war. The second installment of Andor stood in the gap, tying together a streaming TV show and a billion-dollar box office hit. The risk was great, but if done well, this season of Andor would complete a trilogy. Season 1, Season 2, and Rogue One would stand as their own as a new trilogy in the Star Wars universe. However, if they failed, this would possibly take down one of the most beloved movies to come out in the last decade. And so the risks were high, but Tony Gilroy and his crew were up to the task. See, most Star Wars fans agree that Rogue One is the best installment in the Disney era, that it's better written and better directed and better presented than all of the sequel trilogy that had very little cohesion and didn't have very much of a plan going in. Even Tony Gilroy was brought on to Rogue One, not originally, but instead to help fix some of the broken narrative that already existed, and so reshoots and rewriting of a lot of what had happened originally had to go about just to make Rogue One the story that we got. And so the decision was made to go ahead with this ambitious Season 2 that would need to take things completely differently than Season 1, where they would take 1-year time jumps in between different story arcs so that they can take up the 4 years needed to get to 0 BBY. Tony Gilroy and the entire team knew the criticisms of Season 1 and the challenges they needed to overcome, so they started Season 2 with action and a heist. It kicked off a 3-episode story encompassing a Chandrilan wedding, the Avenger heist gone wrong, and the plan to overtake Gorman. The second arc then builds the tension of everything that is happening on this planet known for its silk exports. We meet new characters and catch up with old ones as these episodes start to lay the foundation of what will happen next. They may not stand out as the best episodes, but if they are off, everything crumbles. It's arcs like this that truly solidify Andor as the second installment of a trilogy, because now we are set up for the best 3 episodes of TV ever made. The Gorman Massacre arc is the absolute peak of a season and a half of planning, writing, filming, directing, all of it. And it's absolutely perfect. From Cassian's mission to take out Dedra, to the false flag planning of the Empire, the Gorman people, Cyril Karn seeing the truth, and the horrific outcome of it all, this domino is the spark for the rebellion in many ways. And then you add to it Mon Mothma's speech, her need to escape the Senate, get off of Coruscant, and make her way safely to Yavin. All of that wrapped up in these 3 episodes is what made this show what it is. Everyone agrees when you look at the ratings how well these episodes played out. It's from this genius, from this storytelling, from this spark that a farm boy will rise to be a hero. It's from the ashes of Gorman that the Alliance rises. And Andor gets to show that front and center. The weight of this moment is immense, and it delivers on every single note. Andor then spends the last 3 episodes showing how this band of agitators comes together and prepares to take down the Empire. We find out how rebels learn about the Death Star and Galen Erso. We see the infighting and challenges of trying to work together, and ultimately how a little boy from Kenari would grow into the rebel leader willing to risk everything to take out the super weapon of his enemy. Andor is the prequel we never knew we needed. It fills a hole that we never knew we had. And that's the best type of storytelling that comes and adds context and subtext to everything that we already love. It doesn't undermine or hurt what comes after, but instead enlivens and enriches the soil beneath our feet as we move forward into the rest of Star Wars. And all of this is done not with nostalgia bait, not with needing to bring back cameos of previous characters just so people will watch it. It's done through telling story, character building, and tension, setup, and payoff. All of these pushed into one television show in such a way that keeps us on the edge of our seat, feeling every single emotion, knowing even where this eventually will end, but enjoying the ride as we go anyway. Andor lives within the guardrails of what Star Wars is, an adventure of the soul that grows to fight against the evils of oppression, a story that sets the stage for a hero, that lays the foundation for a Jedi to arise, and that displays the ultimate sacrifice of those who die for a cause they believe in. And this is why when we look back on Andor Seasons 1 and 2 and Rogue One, we can see a flawless trilogy. A flawless prequel trilogy that sets up a new hope. That when we go back and watch all of these in conjunction, we get to appreciate many of the things we've already loved and get to see them with new subtext, with more emotion and more love behind everything that happens. Because now when Alderaan explodes, there's even more context of who Bail Organa is. And when we see Luke complete his mission and blow up the Death Star, we get to think about all of those decisions, some of them very difficult, that were made in the lead up to that moment. This is why Andor and Rogue One is a flawless trilogy.